Welcome back to the Football Podcast on what is a electric Friday for us here. It's been absolutely amazing. Mitch and I have been for a long time.
Your mic sounds underwater when that music's just.
I'll turn it down. Sorry, I was trying something new.
There we go.
Better. All right. Sorry. Technical difficulties. I have had internet issues for the last hour, so we're trying everything to get this on. So we're going to be talking all about the Seahawks versus the Rams game at Lumen, where it was the 38-37 overtime win. We are so stoked to be talking about. We've got a fantastic group in the Discord. We're going to be talking all about Darnold and the flack that he got. We're going to be talking about K9, I have an apology to issue, and so does our guest. Zabel, got to talk about the man. We're going to give you some talk about the defense and the edges. We've got our highlights, our winners and losers, and as always, we've got your comments and questions. But we have also got a special guest tonight, and is a returning guest. He is the host of In the Endzone UK. We've got Dom Ainsley with us. I can't wait to have him on because he's been champing at the bit to talk Seahawks with us again. And I think we really need to get it out of our system. What a pod to come on and do it with. So without further ado, shall we hit that intro music and then we'll get into it. There we go. Back at it again. Before we bring Dom on, we had one of our new friends, a UK Seahawker, Julie, at the Glasgow meetup, and she had something to say about the season and the Rams. So I just want to play this quickly just to rehash it. And this was her wish for the season.
What is your prediction for the season?
I'd like to beat the Rams. Beating the Rams is a big thing for me.
Once, twice. So
all the games, any games we play the Rams, beat them.
So what are you thinking? We're going 11-6 or
12-5.
So you got 12-5 for the season.
Yeah.
So Julie's prediction, just to beat the Rams, I said I'd shout her out on that because it was fantastic. She messaged us on Instagram and said, "I'm still on for my prediction." There it is. And she's there. There you go, Julie. Right, so without further ado, let's bring Dom into the party. Dom, welcome back.
Hello, guys.
How you doing, dude? You all right?
I'm good. It's great to be back. What an episode to jump on after last night's just heart. I don't even know what happened to my heart. It exploded. I went through every range of emotion possible in the course of an hour and a half. I don't think I've ever been that up and down and spun around within a Seahawks game in a long while. So super happy to be on this podcast. And that 12-5 record, I reckon we can beat that.
It's looking that way. It also only hinge on how the Panthers play because they have had some fantastic games. Rico Dowdle's been electric for them, and now they've got Chuba Hubbard back, who's just come back in and looked like he's not missed a beat. And Bryce Young's actually remembered how to play football, so that is going to be
the giant killers, haven't they?
Game.
They've been the giant killers this year. They've done the Rams, they've done the Packers, but if we play our football, they've got no chance.
That's what we're hoping. So anyone who doesn't know, Dom he's been on the pod before. He hosts one of my favorite UK-based NFL podcasts, In the Endzone UK. You have weekly episodes coming out. You've just released your sort of Christmassy episode as well. I've not even had a chance to listen to it yet. It's been on my we'll be festive at the end of this. I'm rocking my Seahawks Christmas jumper.
Love that. I love that. That's great.
Nearly wore my rivalry's jersey, but I thought, no, I knew you'd be wearing yours, so I'll be the festive one. So let's get into this. The Seahawks won an absolute barn burner. It was like you said. I mean, we were up in our watch party, and I've been awake since 1 a.m. this morning. Haven't slept. I am more caffeine than man, and I'm hoping to quell that now by being more beer than man. during this podcast, which I think a lot of us will need after that. There we go. And
Cheers.
Mitch with his green tea.
I'm on the cider. I'm on the cider.
Oh, hey, it's Friday. Why not?
It's a cheeky cappuccino. Thank you very much.
At this time, oh my lord, I'd be shaking.
It's been a long day,
right? But it's. I think everyone went through the lows to start with. The highs of that first touchdown, followed by the lows of the next sort of quarter, 2.5 quarters, all for the fourth quarter for us to pick it back up and show what we can do. Sam Darnold came into his own. We actually looked like we had a bit of a game plan, and then overtime. But let's go through it bit by bit. First of all, Dom, you've told us like you were up and down with your emotions, which is
everywhere.
I think that's justified. But how did you feel overall at the end of the game?
Oh, I mean, spent, ecstatic. Like I was like ready to just fall into a puddle on the ground ultimately, but like nothing better, nothing better than winning a divisional absolute clash of two Titan teams to end up clinching a playoff spot. Whatever happens, whether it's number 1 seed or whatever, we're in the mix. We're in the dance, as Mike was saying. We can now move forward. So I felt great. I mean, like throughout the game, there was moments where my head was in my hands. There was moments where I was up on the sofa, just giving it some of that, because I feel like this game had everything, like absolutely had everything. You had great defense, strong running games at times, poor running games at times, awesome special teams, passing touchdowns, rushing touchdowns. Like the game had everything. It was a spectacle. And for a Thursday night game, of which in recent weeks they've been utter turd, this was just flipping it on its head. This is what a prime, like Amazon Prime game should be. One of the best I've seen in a long while, not even being biased, even though I am biased for the Seahawks. This was class. And, and credit to the Rams as well. As much as I'm going to gloat for a Seahawks, we beat them. They played a great game. Sean McVay and some of their defensive coaching, Sammy D was getting some flack, but actually both picks, and we'll talk about them, I'm sure, but for me, both picks were just a product of incredible defensive scheming. Like, he should be able to read it maybe a little bit better, but the first one, wow, pretending like they were in man, covering it up, dropping into zone that quickly, unbelievable, phenomenal. But I felt great after this win, obviously, I'm sure, as you guys did, because it just means the world. We're in the playoffs. We're there. That's where we want to be.
It means the world to this team as well. You've got vets on that team. Like Leo Williams said, he's only been in the playoffs once in his 11-year career. It's wild. Mental, isn't it? It's wild. Mitch, how did you feel? Obviously, you were in the Discord with the watch party with us all. How have you felt the rest of the day?
Well, I'm still surprised we won this game. Honestly, 581 offensive yards for the Rams with 0 turnovers. Max Stafford's 3rd statistical best game of his career in an MVP year. We turned the ball over 4 times, and we won.
How did we win? How did we win that game?
I still don't know.
Make it make sense. It just doesn't, does it? Like, if you look at those metrics, you look at the stats on that, that is a losing football game.
I love it.
Lost by 30 points.
Yeah, but I love that. And I love, like, we didn't, last week, I know I was supposed to come on the pod and I would have loved to, but, we're finding ways to win every week, just different ways to win. Nobody really enjoys to see, 6 field goals fly through the post and that be that. But if it wins you the week, it wins you the week. And if you find a way to claw yourself back against, in my opinion, up to this game, the best team in the NFL by quite a long way, if you find a way to win, doesn't matter how, a little bit of fortune, on the 2-point conversion. But at the same time, we then go and show that it's not just fortune. We can convert 2s. We did it twice. It's just a bit of, everyone gets a bit of fortune, and the Seahawks have not had that in recent years. If you can mix fortune with unbelievable play on defense and what I would say is a steady offense, it's a winning mix.
Well, you're better off being lucky than good, right? And we were certainly lucky last night. And I think this is worth bringing up. I've done my usual stat thing, and I've had a look at our success rate on 2-point conversions over the last 6 years. It's not good. We didn't attempt a single one last year. We attempted 3 this year. They were all in this game, and we got all 3 of them. Over the last 6 years, we've attempted 20. We've converted 12, so a success rate of 60%. We're 100% on the 3 we had last night. The only other team in the league that is at 100% is the Dallas Cowboys, but their 3 came across the entire season rather than 1 game. So if you add up all the things that happened last night and you played the odds accumulatively after each other, a field goal miss, 3 2-point conversions, coming back in the 4th quarter from a 16-point deficit to win the game. You add all these things up, it's a million in one game, genuinely. So yeah.
Can we talk about those 2-point conversions? I feel like they need to be discussed now, because I've never seen. Well, one, I've never seen a 2-point conversion which has happened from a backwards/lateral pass that has deflected off a defender's head, and there is no way anyone is ever going to tell me Charbonnet knew what he was doing.
No, he doesn't.
Charbonnet thought that play was dead, and he went, "Oh, just go pick that ball up for the referee, shall I?" He picked it up, and upon booth review, they went, "Oh yeah, that's actually by the letter of the law, it is." Then you've got Sean McVay, hair gel boy, crying at his podium, going, "Oh, I've never seen something like that before in my life." Well, it's probably because it's never happened before in your life, but it's in the rules. And the fact
it's funny, actually. I think there's been a couple of instances this year where this Seahawks team have done weird things that have made the rest of the league maybe question the way they behave. Do you remember when we scored on our own kickoff?
Yeah, special teams kickoff, and we recovered it because they didn't. Yeah,
and that was Halani, wasn't it?
That was Halani. Yeah,
that was a moment where every other coaching staff in the league would have looked at it, scratched their head, and went, "Oh yeah, we probably should play that way just on the off chance." That last night is another example. I feel like we're teaching the league at this point the intricacies of the rule book. It's been an odd year.
On that play. Oh, sorry, Josh, go on.
No, go.
I was going to say on that specific play, what I didn't really understand was where the mistake was, right? Because if you're Charbonnet, the play calls obviously come in that it's going to be some form of toss that's technically backwards or lateral pass, whatever it was supposed to be. Now, if you're the running back, or I'm putting myself in the running back shoes, if I know that the play was where the ball was supposed to have gone backwards, I also should know that if it ends up in the field of play, that it's a live ball. So I would have expected Charbonnet to sort of run to the ball and dive on it if that's what was in his head. Like, he's okay, that was a toss play. I know the ball's going backwards instead of forwards, which means it doesn't. The play doesn't end if it hits the ground, so I should be chasing that ball. Equally, I guess to all the other Rams team, it probably looked like a pass, so they just left it alone. But if you're Charbonnet, do you not know what play was called? You know, like, unless it was a busted play in which the pass actually went backwards when it was supposed to go forwards. What do you reckon? Was it supposed to be a pass, or was it supposed to be a toss?
I think it was. I think it was supposed to be. Yeah, it was supposed to be a lateral pass.
Supposed to be a pass,
but because it looked like they'd set him up as sort of a screen. But when you look at it, from the only thing I could think of, if I'm trying to put myself in Charbonnet's cleats, is Charbonnet lined up out wide for that pass. But when the pass hit, I think it was Jared Verse's helmet, in his mind, he's probably gone, right, okay, it's hit his helmet, then hit the floor, ergo, play is dead. But because it was a lateral / backwards pass and it's come off him, play's still live. So he's just gone, I'll just go pick this ball up and we'll go again.
I'm trying to spin it so that we maybe take some credit, but it was obvious. It was obvious that nobody was attacking that ball with any urgency. But at the same time, you have to say exactly the same thing for the Rams. You jump on that ball. Nobody knows what's happened. Get on that ball. If you're not, that's same in any sport, in any rugby. You play to the whistle. You jump on the ball. Ball is there. Ball is king. Ball. Get on it. The worst thing that can happen is that you have to pass it you give it to the ref.
Which is what Charbonnet was doing.
Yeah, well, which is what he was doing,
I'm an upstanding gentleman. Take that.
Yeah.
But give me 2 points instead. And then we had the 2 points that ended the game. Wow.
Great play. Yeah. From one busted, lucky play to one that was drawn up perfectly. All the movement pre-snap to find out where the defense was, and then a little chip and leak out by Salbert, however you pronounce it.
Sorbet.
Sorbet.
Sorbet. A
Sorbet.
little bit of flavour. Sorbet.
Yeah. Oh, he added plenty of flavour last night, and that was, that was great. And I don't know what read do you reckon it was. It wasn't his first read, was it? He was bouncing in that pocket for a little while, or do you think that was the design all day?
Well, I think it was the design for Sorbet to actually come off his block and find that space just over the top. But it definitely wasn't his first read. I think that's more of the emergency read, and he managed to make do with it. Fourth read. There you go, from Bryce from the Hawks Eye. Welcome in, Bryce. Yeah, and fourth read. There you go.
Everyone's saying fourth. Must be right.
But I'll take it if that's your fourth read. If that's like your emergency read, that's you go through your progressions and go and fourth. That's the one. I will take that any day of the week.
Oh, yeah.
And what a way to walk it off. I put on the short that I put on social media that now makes the Rams the only team in NFL history to have scored a touchdown in overtime and lost a game.
Somewhat due to the new rules, right?
Yes.
Because
it's been impossible until 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But I'm so pleased it was them that took the L on that stat first. And I'm so happy we just delivered it for them. That's fantastic. Did you see also that this was the first time in overtime that a 2-point conversion has won the game? But again, that's partly due to this because usually you score in overtime and that's the game you don't even kick, right? So
stop putting a dampener on it, Mitch. I think that I think that the 2-point conversions lead us really nicely into our highlights. Because let's face it, the 2-point conversions, they were highlights. One was a surprising highlight, and one was just that walk-off highlight.
Yeah, I nearly went with the final 2-point as my highlight, just because the noise that came out of Lumen was. I imagine being there, and I'd have loved to have been in the mix of that when you realise that the game's over. The game's over. We've won. And
JSN jumped straight into the crowd. All the team were just at that end.
What a place to be at that time.
Yeah, just imagine. Yeah. So let's go through our highlights, and as always, Dom, as our guest, we'll start with you as your first highlight, and then we'll go into Mitch.
So, my highlight was where I felt the game sort of change, and this happened a couple of weeks for us now with Rashid Shaheed. That man being able to return kicks or punts for touchdowns. His big playability, whether it's through the air catching a pass or catching a kick and taking it back. I mean, against the Falcons, it changed the narrative of the game a few weeks ago. We got that lead and then floodgates opened. In this one, it just felt like that was the break that we needed to try and just deflate the Rams a little bit. They were on such a high, and we just needed to just quieten them down, take the adrenaline out of their sails and just, okay, we can. And the fact that we scored so quickly as well, because when they were kicking it back to us, I was thinking, gosh, there's not loads of time here left for us to be able to try and march down the pitch, get a score, stop them again, get another score. But when we scored with, took 13 seconds, I was like, game on, like this. And I think that's what it did to the team as well. It was like, there's 7 points. Thank you very much. On we go. Next. And it just lit that litmus paper that just set us on fire. And Rashid Shaheed, man, it's more for him. He has come through clutch for us in big spots where we've needed, 15, 16, 17 yards. Yep. And he pulls that down. But more to the point, the kick returning, like his vision, his ability to take it to the house. What a return, and what a time to do it in the game. And more to the point, it just shows every phase for the Seahawks is a phase that everyone has to watch out for. Mm-hmm. You can't You can't sleep on us on defense. You can't sleep on us on special teams. You can't sleep on us on offense. If you do, we can get you. And that's why they were kicking it into the end zone for the best part of the game. I
did notice that. Yeah, after that happened, I did notice that a lot of their kicks were going dead straight away.
They did it before too.
Yeah, it's like, do not give it to Raheed Shaheed.
Absolutely. I think that was a game plan of Sean McVay. I think he was like, you kick that ball as hard as you can through that end zone because I don't want to gift the Seahawks any yards. And that's what you get with somebody like Shaheed. So yeah, that's my highlight. I loved it. Loved every second of it.
I tell you what I really like about Rashid Shaheed's return, and it's not just this one, it's the way he returns the ball in general. But he's not necessarily elusive with how he returns the kick, and he doesn't sort of play like you'd play if you were playing Madden, where you just grab the R2 trigger and just sprint the second you get the ball in hand. He's so patient, and it's his change. It's the way he times his change of pace and puts his foot down. That means that people misjudge their angles for their tackles because they're closing the space on him, and all of a sudden the jets kick in and he goes. And also the control on the line, because you saw he was having to adjust his feet, accelerating, nearing the line, and honestly, the skill at speed from Shaheed is unbelievable. But I just thought I'd mention that change of pace. Yeah, the change of pace is absolutely electric.
Yeah. No, I agree, Mitch. And the fact that he's got those gears, the fact that he can look like he's maybe running at top end and then hit the nos.
He's got more.
And he's got more. It's like, what? Yeah, he's great.
He's one of those runners. He's like deceptively fast runner as well, because it looks like he's gliding. He's not one of those like when you see sort of like your Tyreek Hills and they're going quick because you see how quick their legs are churning. It's like what was it, the mouse Roadrunner or the Aiba, that little mouse Sonic thing. That'll do as well. But when you see him and he does step up a gear, it's literally just like he widens his stride and it's like he just glides up like that. There must have been half an inch between the side of his foot and that touchline, and he did not break stride. That was just he has been one of the better free agents, not even a free agent, a trade like John Schneider's made during the season in a long, long time.
It's going to help us in the playoffs.
Yeah, 100%, especially with the connection he's got with Darnold that's forming and really starting to mature now. I'm enjoying seeing him actually get involved in the passing game. Well, Mitch, what was your highlight, sir?
Got a fun one for all the 12s. My highlight of the game was Matt Stafford continuously looking at the Seahawks sideline and signaling his first downs and giving the sideline his little fist pumps, like the game was in the bag, and he was the boy, and he was leading those Rams to victory in Lumen Field, just to end up with statistically his third best game of his career and an L to show for it. That was my highlight of the game.
That's very sweet.
Ernest Jones came out and said that they were laughing on the sideline, that they thought the game was over. And that just galvanized the whole team, where they're like, we're not here to be laughed at. And everyone pulled their finger out. Yeah.
That'll do it. Yeah, if you've ever 100%. Been in that competitive atmosphere and you feel like somebody's taking the Michael out of you, it opens a new switch. It's not just, you don't lay down, you keep fighting. And that's what Ernest Jones was saying. We play till the very, very end, and we do every week, and some teams don't, and you deserve the comeuppance if that's what you're doing. If I saw Sam Darnold laughing at the opposing sideline, I'd be telling him to get back in his basket, sit down and get on with the game. You finish the game, then you laugh.
Yeah, can you imagine Bobby still on that team seeing that? Oh. Bobby Wagner wouldn't tolerate that for a single second.
Pull his arms off.
Yeah. But I think that's indicative of the. And I don't want to bag on other teams because I'm not well entrenched with them or their philosophies or what they're like.
Do it, Josh.
All right, fine. They just seem like they're very, very sure of themselves as being like number one seed, top of the table. You look at they're not And they said on the broadcast they're a star-studded side, but I look at that side, I look at their roster and go, it's not star-studded at all. Like you've got your Nakuas, you've got your Staffords, you've got, Devontae Adams. I can't think of anyone else that I'd class as a bona fide star on offense.
No,
And then
I mean their offensive line holds up pretty nicely, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It works nice as a unit. Did we get a sack this week? I don't think we got one, did we? No, which is troublesome. And he had a lot of time whilst pressure eventually got there. They gave him enough time, and it's just lucky or fortunate that our defense is stacked in every level, because for most teams, if their corners had to hold up for that amount of time, they'd have been shredded. And I guess to a certain level, we kind of were. But I hear what you're saying, Josh. The problem is that, and I will say now, because I run my podcast, I have to be across all teams, and I have to try to appease all. I try to be.
You don't have to be on here.
I know, and I love to beat the Rams. I hate the Rams, but I will give them credit in the fact that last night did nothing for me in terms of feeling any less fearful of the Rams. I still think that they're as good a unit as there is. Sean McVay is as good a coach as there is. And as much as we beat them, I think our toughest challenge in the playoffs would be facing the Rams again. Legit. I think that's the hardest path is through these boys again, with a healthy Devontae. But equally, we've got our own injuries. But I'm going to be very careful in saying that I don't think that the Rams deserve where they need to be, because I think and it's mainly Sean McVay, but they've got some special people on their team, just not quite.
To give Hair Gel Boy his dues, he does manage to pick these.
Gel Boy.
I can't help it. It's just his hairstyle reminds me of my hairstyle when I was 13 in secondary school. It's all Shockwave's hair gel. Just there you go. That'll do. There you go. That's the endorsement deal sorted. But yeah, it's just he manages to get these players that aren't necessarily first or second round talents, and he gets them to play really well in the system, and that's what turns them into these star-studded rosters. And he does it extremely well. It's so annoying because he's had our number as a Seahawks for years now, because he's such a cerebral, intelligent coach. Offensively, him against Mike Mack for years to come is going to be a fantastic battle to see who evolves past the next one, because then the next season the next one will evolve and it'll just keep doing this. I think Mike Mack's starting to get to grips with it now, but like I said, in the playoffs that's going to be a free-for-all. I think I was just enjoying, as I couldn't sleep after the game ended, just going on social media, looking through all these random Rams fans that came up, posting at halftime like they're going to walk away with this, and after the third quarter going, "Oh yeah, we've got this." And all I was doing was just from the podcast social media accounts going, "Maybe should have waited till you posted this, eh?" So, I'm very careful not to be too sure of ourselves at halftime.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think Mitch, that's a great shout for your highlight. My highlight, I am going to the big boys. I'm going to a man who had a few troubles in blocking. He got beaten down on a couple of plays, but Gray Zabel's block for that huge, was it a 55-yard run from Ken Walker? I'll roll in my canine apology to this. Okay, but first I'll start with Zabel.
I'll stand behind you when you do it and go,
yeah. So I'll take it all. But yeah, like a man that big, I mean, he's young. Like we said this on the Discord watch party last night. This is the most football he's ever played in his career, and that showed by some of the pass rush sets that he was really struggling to sort of hold off. But to be able to kick up the gears, to get downfield into that second level so quickly and absolutely vaporize, the Rams player, to allow Ken that extra sort of 5 to 7 yards to cut in, which in hindsight was probably the wrong move for him, because if he'd gone on the outside, he probably could have hit it up by the corner, but that's by the by. Gray Zabel, that for me as an front row forward, I love seeing a big boy trundle. and he wasn't trundling, he was sprinting. He was like a chubby gazelle. He was shifting up that field, and it was it was a sight to behold. I just love seeing a big boy in space, and the fact that he just put his head down, he knew exactly what his job was, and just decimated that Rams player to allow K9 to go up there. I thought it was fantastic. It was my highlight. Anytime you see a big boy do something like that, I'm all for it. I was out of my seat in my little office, under my breath, going yes, so as not to wake up my wife or my 6-year-old. But
Josh,
I think with this, yeah.
I was going to say, a few plays later, he helped Charbonnet get in as well by literally physically lifting and moving. I think it was who was the defensive tackle that was giving him fits for a lot of the day.
Was it Colby Turner?
Turner, yeah. So in that moment, he owned Turner, allowed Charbonnet to get his head in the end zone, and that was a battle between those guys all day. There was some moments where Zabel did get owned as a rookie, but I think when you look at it as a whole, he had a great game, and he was one of the few that that helped pave the way for that win and for our ground game to move when it needed to the most. So yeah. Fully agree, Josh. And he's had a great season too. So it's not like he had one game where he's, one game where we go, oh, Zabel's good. And he's been like it every game of every game this season so far. So what a pick.
Exactly. Like, you could have picked so many more players, but the fact that John Schneider picked him, I think we're all thankful for it. I know one of the members of our Discord, his son bought him a Zabel jersey.
Strong.
That's a strong choice of jersey. But I think that this oh, go on.
I was just going to say, before we get too far away from the chubby gazelle comment, should I be worried about our merch shop having a chubby gazelle with a 76 on it? Like I feel like I'll wake up tomorrow, there'll be another addition to our merch shop.
No, I'm in the process of designing more t-shirts and actually getting a proper store for them, but that can wait.
And there's no wildlife. Okay.
When we reach a certain point on YouTube, then we can actually have our merch shop underneath our videos. So I'm going to wait till then to drop them all. But I've got about 8 designs now that I've got up here or on the computer. Chubby Gazelle is going to be one of them, though. I'm just going to write that down as well as an idea. Yeah. So, Dom, you and I were messaging the other week about the run game. It was a proper rant. It was a proper messenger rant. And I feel this might be the right episode for us to not quite retract what we were saying, but we can offer K9 an apology, because we all know he watches this pod. He does. He's got it bookmarked. He's liked and subscribed, all of that stuff. And if you're just catching us now, you too can like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you stay up to date with all of our pods. See what I did there?
Oh, what a transition!
Exactly. See, I've been doing this for a while. But we were saying that our issues, and I've said this all season, my issue with K9 is not that he hasn't got the ability. It's that he's so inconsistent with that ability. And I know part of that, and I know Bryce will come in the comments and say part of that's because of scheme. And I can understand that. But the scheme doesn't change that much week to week, where one week he'll go for an average of 2.5 yards. And this week he had more.
Was it 9 or something? 9 yards a carry or something it was. 9.1.
There you go. And yeah, so it was 4.2 was his average.
Oh, was it?
Okay. Longest to 25. But
right.
For me, when you can have a game like that where you're so effective. In fact, no, I think you might be right, actually. I think my stats have pulled up the wrong one. But when you can be that effective, I don't see why that can't be every week. And this is where I get really annoyed by it, because for a man with so much talent, he should be able to have that type of game consistently. And he just doesn't. So for this week, based on his performance, I'm going to offer a sincere apology to him.
Me too? That's probably I think me too. I think, like you say, he's got the ability. Even if it wasn't every week, because of scheme or because of like how the defense lines up against us to stop the run game. We see this from Kenneth twice a season, and that's not regular enough, unfortunately. So if he could pull this out the bag 50% of the time, he'd be considered a top tier running back. If he could pull it out the bag 75% of the time, they'd be talking about him like they talk, right now,
like Saquon
and Saquons, if he could do it. But he's got the physicality. When he hit that down the line, you knew nobody was catching him. He's got that top end speed. His legs are massive. He's built, so he looks like he can take a tackle. He just needs to do it more consistently. So my apology is, sorry that I was absolutely bashing you last week, but equally keep doing it. Yeah. Because if he runs like that and our offense clicks in the pass game, wow, like it's nearly an unstoppable force.
I don't think there'll be any arguments about re-signing him, unlike we've been having over the Discord. And speaking of which, if you're not and you want to join our Discord, the link is in the podcast description below, and Mitch will pop it in the comments as well, and you can join us. Oh, yeah. Dom's in there as well. He's still trying to figure out Discord.
Trying to work it out.
You're trying to work it out.
I go into it and it's like I'm looking at the Matrix. I'm like, oh, I need
to work binary, just ones and zeros.
Yeah, that's all it is.
On the subject of, sorry, I was going to say, just before we get off the subject of canine apologies, the only canine apology I will issue is if I trip over the dog. I don't think we've said anything on this show that I don't think is based in fact. And last night was a really good game for him. But just statistically, just to add a little bit of context, I popped this in the chat. I'm going to pull it up on the screen. So this is tied for the most games Ken has ever played for the Seahawks. 15 games is his best return. But he's got 15% less carries in this 15 than the other two seasons where he managed 15. But he's only 60 yards less at this point through 15 games. So what we've actually got from Ken is less volume of carries, but slightly more efficiency on some weird metric.
Okay.
He's sharing snaps. He's slightly healthier than at this stage in the season than he's ever been. When he's had his 15 games in the past, he's carrying an injury, whether it's an oblique or an ankle problem or a foot injury. We've seen all of this. I think he's had a hamstring one year as well, from memory. We've never seen Ken at this end of the season this healthy. I mean, that surely is worth something. There's a difference to the way we're using Ken now. Granted, the frustrations between him being slightly inconsistent or not decisive with where he's going to run and overworking it and getting tackled in the backfield too often. There's lots of infuriating ways in which he's going about it. But I do think there's an overarching thing there with us trying to be less reliant on one running back, sharing the workload and trying to get to the postseason with the bell cow backs still fit and healthy. And touch wood, we're actually qualified for the playoffs, 2 games left. Ken and Zach both fit, so
that's a fair.
There's a little bit of that in there.
Point. Really fair point, and a great consideration when going into the playoffs. You want your starters to be starting, don't you? And if you overload Ken because we're trying to push him past that ability that we think he has, maybe he gets injured. So yeah, no, you're right, Mitch. It's, the best ability is availability, isn't it? So
yeah.
Also, just going to pull this up just to add some weight to us slating him throughout the rest of the season. Ken's 100-yard game against the Rams and his 105 against the Steelers in week 2 are the only 2 100-yard games by the Seahawks running back this season. This doesn't read well. It doesn't, Jonas. You're very, very right. But I think we'll shelve that because we've apologized to Ken. I don't want to drag it back down. I feel like we've righted ourselves a little bit.
We have.
And speaking of writing ourselves, let's talk about winners. Dom, who was your first winner?
My winner.
Oh, your only winner.
Yeah. My winner is AJ Barner. He's this season become a version of Mr. Reliable. I feel like that when we've needed him the most in so many different spots, whether it be our weird version of the tush push or you know, a
Barnyard.
The barnyard.
Or a busted coverage for, you know, a 60-yard tutty, or in this game, what a catch. You know, some tight ends, some receivers can't make that catch, and Mitch's boy, AJ Barner, I know that's what I should have named him as. Apologies, Mitch. Mitch's boy, AJ Barner. But you know, he only had 50 yards receiving in this game, I think. So it's not, you know, it's not like I'm saying this guy tore it up. You know, you could go with JSN just being this phenom every week, but for me, AJ Barner in this game, he's just a tank, you know. And for somebody who is a big dude, I love his celebration where he's doing this. Like, he just looks like a warrior, and to be able to, like, Sam Darnold put a bit of the moon on that ball by the time it had come down, and he's 6'6". He had to fully stretch. He high pointed the ball. Some players don't make that catch. You know, a lot of players don't make that catch. Anybody under 6'3" doesn't make that catch. And so, you know, the fact that he's got the ability to do that whilst also block, whilst also be this sort of unassuming possession receiving tight end as well. I just think he's got it all. And he's not that Kittle, Brock Bowers type of tight end, but he is such a useful, efficient, what we need from a Seahawks. Like, he just gets the job done, and I love players that just get the job done. Not too fancy, just does it. And so he was my winner. I feel like, you know, Arroyo and you know, our other tight ends have just not come close. Like, he's carved himself out a very specific role in the Seahawks squad, and I love it, and I love to see it. And you know, I don't know how many touchdowns he's had. I'd be making it up if I remember, but he's had a few. You know, he's up there. As a fantasy tight end, he wouldn't be doing you a huge disservice. He's good, very good.
Well, we've got Colston Loveland.
He has 5 touchdowns on the season.
Yeah, so some receivers don't have that, you know, in some good teams.
We have Colston Loveland to thank for AJ Barner coming to us in the 5th round, by the way. I genuinely think if JJ McCarthy's tight end 1 had been AJ Barner instead of Colston Loveland in college, we'd have seen a much higher projection for AJ Barner, but he was a lesser targeted tight end, and we'd taken him off his pass blocking with the upside of no one really knows how good he can be as a receiver because he just hasn't had the targets because of Colston Loveland taking the lion's share. So thank you, Colston Loveland. I don't even know if I'd trade. Like, honestly, Colston Loveland's a first round tight end talent, and rightly so. I don't think I'd trade.
Not right now. What we're getting from him is more than what Loveland is offering the Bears at the moment. You know, he's just doing more. And yeah, that I sort of just saw a comment pop up there in terms of the little shake and bake he gave it to get free in the end zone. That was a lovely route. That was a lovely route.
Cam Kitchens just his feet fell from under him.
Yeah, just broke his ankles.
Like he was trying to run on soap. It was amazing.
That was
I think, you know, with you choosing Barner, I'm going to add no notes. It's Mitch's boy, but I think this actually leads really well into Mitch's loser. So we'll flip it a little bit. Ooh. And Mitch, do you want to go for your loser off the back of what Dom said?
Yeah, so following my highlight being Max Stafford throwing cocky gestures, which no one would have seen coming as my highlight, nobody is seeing my loser coming, who is Noah Fant.
So nowhere near this game. Or the end zone at the moment.
Noah Fant is my big loser here. Like, he could have been on this roster. He could have been in a Super Bowl contending team this year. And for a long time during the offseason, it was, are we cutting Noah Fant? Does he make this roster? Is he being paid too much? Oh, well, now we've drafted Arroyo. AJ Barner had a good year. Does Noah Fant get cut now, or do we? You know, yes, we did cut him. Okay, great. Well, now he's off playing for a team that are not anywhere near the Super Bowl contenders that this roster is. But I can't tell you he has any less athletic ability or talent than AJ Barner or Arroyo. I just think that he never truly adjusted to the scheme, and he could have been in a Super Bowl contending team this year. But yeah, that's my biggest loser. Watching AJ Barner do the things he does, and Sobert at the end. Honestly, I just think if I was Noah Fant, I'd be kicking myself.
I love two of these comments that have come in from UK 12 man Noah Fant catching strays, and then from Hawkskull, Noah Fant is a left field choice. And I can hear him say it in his voice as well.
Yeah,
but it's true. It is.
It is.
I'll bring us back on track with a winner, and then we'll go on to Dom's loser. So my winner for this game is someone that I saw on social media last night, this morning, during the day, whatever you want to call it, depending on what time zone you're in. He caught so many strays from the toxic Seahawks Twitter collective and all over social media saying that, he's the problem. We need to trade him. It was a mistake signing him. Maybe Geno was better. And it's Sam Darnold. I saw some horrendous stuff written about our quarterback yesterday on social media. And all I could think was, have you guys never watched a Seahawks game? I know it's not a Pete Carroll team, but I do think the ghost of Pete Carroll in the Lumen dressing room maybe snuck up on Mike McDonald and went, "You can win it in the fourth." Ethereally floating away. But Sam Darnold, granted, in that first half, he was abysmal. The two picks, and we said this, both picks came off slant plays. So the first pick, where it was going to Shaheed, which it looked like he was the only read he was going for. That's one you mentioned, Don, where it looked like they were showing man and then went into zone. That was just off bad play. He had that one read, tried to throw it straight to him, but that got jumped. And then the Kobe Turner one, again, the exact same play. It was a slant over the middle where Turner just dropped into coverage. Turner, it was right there for him. But one thing I've noticed about Sam Darnold, he doesn't do the head in hands like Geno or throwing his dummy out and whatever. He gets this really intense, 1,000-yard stare, which is just like him locking in. Like you can tell he is annoyed and he wants to play. And he finished his game yesterday, 22 for 34, 270 yards through the air. He lost some through sack, but averages 7.9, 2 TDs, 2 interceptions. So he got sacked 4 times. But in the final quarter in overtime, people need to realize that it was him that marched us up that field with precise throws, picking the right read. I'll pick one of the things that Bryce mentioned earlier. His highlight of the game was Sam's OT throw to Cup. Watching the end zone view it was absolutely amazing. I mean,
it was a clinical toe tap, Cooper Cup special, but it was a perfectly placed throw as well, where it needed to be, out of bounds or in your receiver's hands, one or the other.
And this is it. You look at that, and Sam Darnold, he may not be this elite QB that everyone's clamoring for, but he's the QB that can do things in this offense. And he's proved in the locker room, everyone loves him. I said in a previous pod, Ernest Jones went up to bat for him, and he said, "That's our QB. Basically, keep his name out your effing mouth," type thing. And I think people just need to cut him some slack. They also need to realize that it's the NFL. There is no QB who is 100% dominant. Fair play. Matt Stafford had a worldie of a game yesterday, but he still lost. Colin Cowherd came out and said, "You look at the best QBs in the league. They're throwing interceptions. They're throwing incompletions. They're making the wrong choice because they're trying to force things because they want things to happen." They're the QBs you want. You don't want these conservative ones who just dink and dunk, too afraid to try and slot it through, thread it through the eye of a needle. Sam Darnold is doing just what we need him to do, and he's leading the guys. And I hate using this man's name. Russell Wilson was always one of those who he had such a positive mindset of, "We've got to go and do this. Come on, boys, let's do it." And Sam has that. You could see in overtime, as soon as he was about to go on the field, he's put his helmet on. You could see him as he was doing it. He was like, "Let's go, boys!" Like 1,000-yard stare, "Let's go, boys!" and just went and just drove us up that field. He's my winner, and anyone who wants to challenge that, by all means, please do with any statistics. But as I've said, statistics don't mean a lot. You can have a statistically brilliant game, but play like utter crap. However, there's more intangibles behind that.
There's another elite entity that was catching strays on X last night, completely unjustified as well, equally as unjustified as Sam Darnold, and that was the throwback jerseys, not the throwback jerseys, so the rival jerseys. People were saying that it was an unlucky jersey. Well, where are they now?
Yeah, burn that jersey. Never play it again. Yeah,
it's the luckiest jersey we own right now.
I know.
Yeah.
That game will be. The thing is, that game will be replayed many times as one of the classic NFL games. So, it was arguably game of the season.
Game of the season, 100%.
And every time you watch it, what are they going to see? They're going to see cocky Stafford with his little points, and they're going to see our boys in that jersey. So whoever said that jersey was unlucky last night and to never use them again and burn them, there was plenty of it on X. Have a look at yourselves.
Yeah.
Tom, how are you for time, by the way?
I'm good. Let's go. I'm good.
Let's do this. Right.
I'm here, locked in.
Give us your loser.
So I think my loser almost directly follows your winner, Josh. Really, is that my loser is Clint Kubiak in the first half. So I don't know what was going on, but we scored first, and that was one of the things that I was like, if we get into this game, we score first, that generally changes our narrative. Sammy D gets a bit of, dare I say, his version of swag. There's a little bit less pressure on him to make, like the emergency completions that he needs to make. It allows our defense to be a bit more aggressive. And we did that, and it wasn't really due to him. It was K9, some amazing blocking from Zabel that we've spoken about, and we get the score. And then we hold the Rams to a field goal, and we sort of just take our foot in, like, completely off the gas. Not even like a little bit. We just go, we're just gonna just do this, and now I hope that our defense can keep getting stops. It's like, well, we've scored 7 points, Clint. We need to keep the foot on the neck. Like, and the difference between us up 7 points and down multiple scores means that you kind of have to take some risks and put it in your quarterback's hands and draw up plays that are a little bit more risky. Now, there's a level of risk that you don't want to take when it's a one-score game. I get it. But when you've got a bit of a lead and you can start to convert those third and shorts, don't just hand it off. Don't just keep handing it off. Put it in Sam Darnold's hands and let it fly a little bit. You've got that opportunity. We've shown this year that when we've decided to do that, it's worked. And so I felt, we scored 7 points in the first half. That's, so the other 31 came in the second half and overtime. I was incredibly frustrated with the play calling from Clint Kubiak in the first half. I thought it was cowardice. I thought it was cowardly. I thought it was him just really trying to, and I can't take anything away from him because ultimately his narrative and the way that he played that game won us the game, but it felt unnecessary. So I just think that for me, Clint Kubiak needs to find moments where he can be more aggressive, trust his quarterback, trust the number one elite receiver that we've got in the league in JSN, trust big old AJ Barner to come down with some of the stuff, because it was uninspiring. And then as soon as we're down, we start lighting it up. And Sammy looked awesome. It was just like he couldn't stop converting JSN, running little post routes, out routes, converting everything. And I was like, we're down 2 scores. How is this happening now? And I know the defense allows you to play underneath and those things change to a certain degree. But I don't know. It's just like this little switch that I feel like Clint Kubiak needs to be told, you need to be a bit more aggressive. You can't win playoff games if you're just cowering in a corner for 3/4 of the game. That's the way I see it.
You need to be in our voice chat for our watch parties, because Bryce was in there last night and he has views about Kubiak, and I'm pretty sure he's probably going to say them on his show, but that he echoes a lot of what you say. It's for me, it's he's come into this team and he said we're going to be run heavy. That's what we're going to do, and we seem to have success in the air. And then he goes, no, I said we're going to be run heavy. Let's run. And then we have a succession of like 4 3-and-outs where he just tries to run everything. And he just seems to go, oh, God, that didn't really work, did it? No, you're right, it didn't. Maybe try doing something else, like do what was working against this team. And I think it's just a lack of sequencing and foresight from him. But yeah.
And then you put the pressure on Sam Darnold, and then to finish off, to your point, the 2 interceptions. I think Darnold had a good game. I've had a couple of my mates message me like, "Oh, those picks, they were stinky picks," and I'm like, they weren't really. Like, they weren't ideal, but for me, it was way more. I thought it was way more on the way that the defense played against that particular setup. That we had. The play that was called against, I guess, for Sam Darnold in both of those. Who expects a DT to drop out of the middle of the line of scrimmage and intercept a slant route? You just don't expect it.
Aaron Rodgers didn't.
No,
and Big Mac took it for what 90-odd yards.
Exactly. And I mean, those are, and that was an amazing play call by our amazing defensive coordinator, or Mike Mack, calling the plays. Same goes. The Rams are coached incredibly well. So when you look at that and go, oh, that was a bad pick by Sam. Yes, okay. One read throw into the flat where it's picked off, not great. One read where you throw it to a DT, not great. But on the flip side, the defense, I give credit to the Rams for that, as opposed to discredit to Sam. So, and maybe that's me being super Seahawks focused, but I actually don't think so. I feel like I can see the difference between a pick that shouldn't be thrown, a ball that shouldn't be thrown, and one that is just picked because of an amazing defensive play. That they are not the same. There are many picks in this league where the quarterback goes down with 4 interceptions or whatever. It's not on them, and we need to look at that as sort of separately. I think in my eyes.
I'll put this one up from Bryce. Wow, Dom sounds just like me. I like this guy. There you go. So Bryce, tune into In the Endzone UK, and you can hear Dom talk about the whole league as well.
Cheers, Bryce.
Join us and listening.
In the Endzone
Mitch,
UK.
There you go. Don't worry, you'll get your time at the end to shout all that out. I'll even put it in the pod description as well, and I'm going to update the YouTube to show your pretty face as well, Dom. Right, so Mitch, you did us your loser. Who was your winner?
Yeah, so this one's not going to be a left field choice. So this one's just going to be quite for someone who, for me, was quite an obvious winner last night, and that was Ernest Jones. I think Ernest Jones, you want to see him get a game, win a game over the Rams. It's a franchise that drafted him, that didn't value him, traded him away. He ended up back in the NFC West. He's now on a Super Bowl contending Seahawks team that stuck it up the Rams last night, and he was very outspoken in his distaste for the disrespect shown by his old colleagues. So good on you, Ernest. I hope that's one of many, many more wins over the Rams. Hopefully not the last win over the Rams we see this year. So, yeah, good on Ernest Jones. That had absolutely nothing to do with his performance, his stat sheet, anything else. Just really happy for him.
And then, look, 12 total tackles, 4 solo and a TFL. He was second in the team in tackles behind Drake Thomas, who was everywhere as well. I like that. EJ just deserves his flowers. Now, I'm going to give a loser. And this one, much like Mitch's, has nothing to do with the stats they put up, because they were phenomenal. And I do not envy anyone who had to play against him in fantasy football this week. But I'm giving my loser to Puka Nacua. Puka Nacua, get in the bin. Puka Nacua, who goes on a live stream with people that have openly said that they're Andrew Tate worshippers, who have got him to do an anti-Semitic neo-Nazi dance and make him promise that he'd do that as a celebration dance, only for him to be reprimanded by the Rams to make sure he doesn't do it, to then go straight off the field and within, was it 8 minutes, write a tweet basically blaming the refs, which was retweeted by one of the members of our Discord who's actually watching the show as well, Ben, UK 12th man. And when I went to look at it again, he'd deleted it because in Sean McVay's press conference, one of the press members said, "What do you think of his tweet?" He had no idea, but you could literally see his face get redder as it was mentioned. And he has now had $25,000 he's been fined?
Yeah, 25K fine.
His comments. Carry on. Okay.
I was just going to say the boy is dumb.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. Puka, he's a generational, by the looks of it, talent on the football field, but he is dumb. He's a stupid dude. He's
a generational asshat, in my opinion. Honestly, the comment he made about...
I'm not even going to bleep that from this pod.
That's a T-shirt right there. Generational asshat, Puka Nacua.
Just give me all the design ideas.
The comments he made about concussions, and saying that it's only a concussion if you acknowledge it, it's just in your head, just play through it and, don't think about it and you won't have a concussion, was one of the most irresponsible and misguided comments I think I've ever seen a professional sportsman come out with.
However, I will defend him. It might work for him because he has a potato inside of his head.
Yes. Yeah.
So maybe
or he gets a lot of protection from the ass hat.
Yeah, he's got an ass hat on and a potato in the middle. Concussions aren't real for him, but they are real for everyone else.
Do you know? It's just one of those where it's very rare. I want to see a sportsman get the absolute SH1T smacked out of them in every game they play. He's one, not just because he's the bane of the Seahawks' existence, and every time he plays, he tends to put up good numbers. Not just because he's slowly closing in on JSN's, season yardage, but because he is just I really, really wish that we weren't a clean pod, because I would say what I really think, but I'll just put it in the Discord.
I'll invite you. I'll invite you onto mine, Josh and Mitch, and you can say what the F you like, because we swear, we say what we want to say, and Big Dave does not hold back. That boy unleashes whatever he wants to say about anybody. When sometimes I have to edit certain things out because it is that expletive. But you guys come onto our podcast and say whatever you want.
Oh, dude! One of the reasons I listen to your podcast is I listen to your rants and go, I wish I could say that on ours. But it's just, he's just such an imbecile. That look at like this. So from Megan, Aussie 12, Graukroger. If I've got that wrong, I do apologise. Why insult the spud? Spuds are useful. Puka is not.
Sorry about that. I do like potatoes. It's just not as a brain.
No, I just think that if anyone's played a contact sport and had concussion, you know how serious they are. I've been unfortunate enough to I've dealt with quite a few, which it may result in what you see here today.
It explains a lot for me.
But for anyone in a professional sporting environment to say that they're not real, and I'm gonna say this because Mitch said it, so I'm following your lead. He's an asshat. The guy has got no clue. He is deluded beyond belief. And like Bryce said, he is on the Antonio Brown arc now. And I can't root for anyone like that.
Unfortunately, he's just as good as well, and that's the issue. Like he and as much as he is one of those hats, he is incredible, and it is frustrating to go against somebody who can carve you up, and he carved us up 202 yards. Like that's ruthless. That is. One thing I will say, can I ask you both this question? There's a common denominator within all of this, right? There's a common denominator between Megatron's current record that exists, the Triple Crown that Cooper Kupp had a couple of years ago, Puka Nacua on this endless cycle of just putting up 1,500 plus yards. And what is it?
It's Matt Stafford.
Yeah. So I don't know whether Stafford is just incredibly he is elite. He's as good as you can get. He puts the ball wherever he wants to put it. So maybe, it's not just them. Maybe Stafford puts it on the man, whoever that man is. And imagine, I don't want to see it, but what would JSN have if he wasn't, if he was on the Rams? Is he a better receiver than Nakua? Do you think?
Yeah.
I think he is. I think he runs
technically
cleaner routes.
But do you know what? I'm going to pull something up here that Jonas just put up. Don't give that Muppet Nakua too much airtime and move on. It's a Seahawks
Fair
pod.
play.
Yes,
Fair play.
we can have this conversation on your pod, Dom, because you span the whole league.
That's it. Yeah.
But yeah, so that was my loser. And I think we've done all of our winners and losers, haven't we, gents?
We have.
I think
Is there anyone or anything of particular note you guys want to talk about before we start winding this down?
No, just we've secured a playoff spot and we've got 2 more games left. I guess my next thing is we've got the Panthers. We have to operate as if the Panthers are the Rams and look to dispatch them as with as much ferocity as possible, and then move into the Niners, which I think what a tasty game to end the season on. Like that's going to be magic.
Could I just ask, though, that if we treat the Panthers like the Rams, we do it for all 4 quarters, like the 4th?
Yes, please.
I don't really want to treat them like we treated the Rams for the first 3 quarters.
I don't want another squeaky bum game all the way up until sort of the end of it. No. But I mean, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who's joined us today. It's been absolutely brilliant. Dom, thank you so much for coming in. We love having you on this pod, and I
love being on this pod.
Seahawks, mate. You're welcome anytime. You're an open invitation, and I've put my little black book as substitute co-host now, in case me or Mitch can't make it. So prepare for a text message.
More than happy. I love it, guys. Podcast's awesome. Thank you.
Before we go anywhere, do you want to tell everyone where they can find you? I'll update the podcast description, so all your links are in there as well. But feel free to tell people now, mate.
Yeah, nice and simple. I do most of my work on Instagram at In the Endzone UK. We're on all of the podcast channels: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Audible, YouTube, everything. We don't video the pod like you guys do. I'm going to start doing that soon, I think. Just to get that out there, it's way more engaging. But yeah, at In the Endzone UK, we are on X and a few other things, but I do most of my stuff on Instagram. We talk way more about the rest of the NFL, not just the Seahawks. But when I get my moment, boy, do I try to use it, but it's nothing like being on here. I love chatting. I do try. Being the host helps, but I love coming on this podcast and much appreciated. Thank you for having me. I would love, we've not done it yet, but I'd love to get you guys on the In the Endzone podcast one day, maybe in the off season when we've got a bit more wider range of things to talk about.
100%.
But it's awesome seeing the Seahawks fans in the comments and the chat as well. I like to see what people have got to say, because when I do mine, it's very much open to everything, So, yeah, appreciate you having me.
That's right. We're very fortunate. We've got some amazing people that come and join us. And if you've just found us, by all means, you can like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you like this video, a little American football will pop up. It also helps with the algorithm, helps us get us out to more 12s. It helps us connect with more people like Dom and other 12s who want to come on and appear on the pod and talk Hawks with us. And if you want to talk Seahawks with us and not just in the comments on our YouTube channel, join the Discord. It's free. There are 12s from all over the world, and it's just a growing, lovely community of just Seahawks fans who just want to talk Hawks and gently take the rip out of each other. I'll be honest, it's usually me that gets the rip taken out of me when I don't wake up for my alarm for an early morning game, but not this week.
Well done, Josh. Well done.
There you go. And as it's Christmas, if you want to help support the pod, by all means, you can buy us a coffee. There's a link down below to buy me a coffee or a beer or a pizza or a book. You tell us whatever it is. Either way, it helps me and Mitch.
Ooh,
or a glühwein, mulled wine. Take your pick. So much. It's a festive season. If you're feeling generous, it helps me and Mitch keep this pod running, and it helps us bring you everything that we do on a weekly basis. But I've really enjoyed this. I enjoy talking about a win against a divisional rival, which puts us into the playoffs and now puts us at number 1 seed in the NFC and top of the NFC West, where we have 2 games to bag both number 1 and top of the NFC West.
What a week. What a week.
All is right in the world. And one thing we haven't really mentioned, apart from that little spiel I did there about buying me a coffee, it's Christmas next week.
Oh yeah,
I know.
It is.
Yeah, so we got a little bit of time off. We'll be back after the Panthers game. But from me, from Mitch, and I'm sure from Dom as well, we would like to wish all of you a very Merry Christmas. You and your loved ones have a very safe and memorable holiday. Join us in the Discord. I'm pretty sure there will be some people typing drunk on Christmas Day in that Discord. And you can join us for future pods as well. But until then, we like to finish this pod with a Go Hawks in unison. Now, I'm not sure if my internet issues are going to allow for that, like that's ever the issue. But on 3, gentlemen, do you want to join me in a Go Hawks?
Absolutely.
I'll count
Merry
to
Christmas,
3.
everyone.
I'll count to 3, and after 3, let's go for it. Ladies and gents, thank you very much. I'm just going to leave you with turn it up to 12. And on 3, gents, 1, 2, 3, Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.